Zubin, congratulations from my side. I am very happy about your success. I am really very delighted, highly delighted. Wonderful, very well done.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations to your all family members. It is a great
Yes,
day. I
yes,
am
sir.
very sure they must be very happy.
Yes, sir, they are very happy.
Yeah, and now they must be thinking that they are talking to a very responsible person now. Huh?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
you can see. Yes, very nice. And you informed your teachers, your friends.
Yes, sir. I informed my principal, ma'am, and she said that for the first time in the history of our school, for the past 25 years, I am the first NDA cadet.
Very nice. And
Yes,
which is
sir.
your school? Which is your school?
Sir, APJ School, Pitampura. Sir, New Delhi.
Okay, very nice. And you are the first person to be recommended from the uh, Guwahati SSB board also
Yes, sir, for NDA entry.
for the NDA entry.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
you are going to do lot of miracles. You will be first at so many places now.
Yes, sir.
Very nice. And I am very surprised that you are the first one from your school to join NDA. How old is your school?
Sir, 25 years.
Okay, that's excellent. And now, like I am recording your interview for the benefit of other listeners, all
Yes,
other
sir.
aspirants, because you see, so many young people have got dream, and whatever like you will now share your 5 days experience. I'll keep asking you the question which generally are in the mind of the cadets.
Sure,
There may
sir.
be very small doubts. Doubts may appear to be very odd one also, but still, uh, a young aspirant who has got so many doubts or so many questions behind the mind, he needs answer to this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Before starting, I think this was your second attempt, I believe.
Yes, sir.
I believe last time you got conference out or screened out?
Sir, screened out.
Screened out. Okay, what difference you felt? What future army officer trained you? Like, what difference really you felt?
So what actually happened was that when I went to my previous coaching institute, it was more like they taught me how to do things, but I never did them. And when I came to you and we had one-on-one sessions, I felt that you told me about all my weaknesses and told me how to correct them. So that was the main difference, and that's what created the difference. And I got recommended in my very next attempt.
Sure. That's nice. And now, I you will be talking. I may interrupt with you some questions. I want you to start from the first day when you reported for the first day screening and documentation. You can start, take your own time, go deliberately, and give share tips which you really felt were very handy, or your
Yes, sir.
actions which were very handy. And sometime when you are in uh, that 5 day duration, sometime you observe your other candidates who were doing so well, or whatever good of there also you observed, that also you can share.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, now I hand your mic, please.
Okay. So, sir, I would like to start with the start of my journey. Uh, I had my SSB on 9th, and on 8th of August, I took a flight from Delhi and reached Guwahati 1 day before at around 12 1 p.m. So what exactly happened that I rested, and once before going to the screening, I went to check the 5 FSB Guwahati because it was a new board and it is quite hard to find. So I went on a run and I jogged all my way to 5 FSB Guwahati, and I just stood in front of that gate, and I just promised myself that I'm going to get recommended from this place, and that's it, sir. So that's how
Yeah.
I started
Your
my journey.
your inner conscious was very sure that this time you are going to make it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You had a lot of confidence.
Yes, sir.
Very nice. And so, anything what you were thinking, some similar kind of vibes or waves came from the gate side also.
Sir, since I was standing in front of the gate, one of the guards who I can now name because I know him personally, his name was Sachin, and he came to me and said, "What are you doing here in front of the gate?" I said that I am here. I have to give interview tomorrow. I'm just standing here, and he said, "Go away, go away." And then I ran back to my hotel. So that's how my journey started, and I had a good rest at night. I slept for 8 hours, and in the morning, 5 a.m., I started getting ready. And
Okay, I feel. Would you like to say that uh, prior to when you are reporting, you must have a good relaxed time. You must have a sound sleep and a nice sleep. You would like to recommend this?
sir, I would totally recommend this. But there were times that one night before you get the since I was not a fresher, I was cleaned out once before. So there was a time when I started doubting myself, but I relaxed myself by saying that I have flown 1600 kilometers and I'm not going to get rejected from this board. So I just calmed myself down and slept after that.
Okay, you reach SSB gate for the next day, and yes, uh, now start your journey.
Yes, sir. I would like to start my experience by telling the number of reporting. Like there were 58 candidates who reported. Originally planned were 74, but only 58 reported there. Out of which 32 got screened in, and after later on, eight got recommended. So
Okay.
I would like to start my journey by saying that screening test is one of the most important tests in SSB. That if anyone is preparing for SSB, they should surely dedicate 50% of their time for screening. And I will start with my experience now. So I reached the board. I saw many new faces, and we started socializing. Some of them, matlab, most of them were freshers, and some it's like 6 or 7 were repeaters, and 6 or 7 were screen outs like me. So at around 6:30, the warrant officer there came and pick us up from the gate and told us to report. They asked for all our documents, and we just kept the documents in the boxes. Later on, what happened that they gave us
Okay,
breakfast.
I will interrupt. What all documents you were carrying, and what were they desired? Like anybody faltering on that?
Yes, sir. Sir, sir, I would like to say that the documents that were provided in the call-up letter are all important, and one must get 2 Xerox copies of each document, fully filled and self-attested. That's what they wrote in the call-up letter, and we have to read it carefully. Fill all the forms: declaration form, indemnity bond, class 12th mark sheets, 10th mark sheets, photocopies. We should keep all of these. And so I would like to now continue with my experience of the screening.
Yeah, please,
So,
please.
sir, after keeping all these documents, they asked us to calm down because some of us were really tired. They must have had those overnight trains and reached the AFSB in the morning. So they gave us a half an hour to rest, and then we started at around 10 with our OIR. Sir, OIR was very easy. I would like to say this that it was very easy because I was doing the OIR set up by you. So, sir, the OIRs that you set were really tough, and then these OIRs in the AFSB looked like a cakewalk.
I think you people practiced well and the number of practice were carried out, I think that would have really helped you.
Yes,
Though
sir.
deliberately I make a difficult paper, and
Yes, sir.
reason for that, so that you are clued up with the formula or the you can say the shortcut methods. That may be the reason. Uh, you must have picked up those questions well, and
Yes, sir.
of course my intention was always to make paper tough, so that when you appear for actual paper it is easy.
So, sir, I believe that I was able to correct all the questions in OIR. Maybe one or two odd questions must be wrong, but I was able to correctly take all the questions. But sir, later on, the most difficult part of screening came. Sir, the PP and DT. Sir, it was a very stressful exercise, like everyone knows. Sir, so first it was very easy. Like we wrote the story. So since I had shown you many stories, I wrote many stories, and you taught me how to write stories. You taught me how to think better. So sir, I came up with a very good story, and
So what
during
was the
that,
picture like? What was the picture like?
sir, it was like a cafe scene in which there was a lady and there was a boy younger than the lady. So I believe that what my story said, that she was the teacher, and I should not tell my story because people will start taking ideas about that. But I will just give the action of the story. My action of the story was competing in a math competition. So she was the teacher and he was the boy, and he was taking advices, mentorship, and I used the words that you once showed me in the story of that girl that you
Okay,
told me
okay,
about. Yes,
that
sir.
was helpful.
Yes, sir. I used the same words.
Oh, that's nice. It is never bad to copy a good thing.
Yes, sir.
One must always good ideas. There is no harm. That is a positivity of stealing and copying. Both are the negative words, both are the negative activities, but I can still tell you that still there is a positivity when you steal good ideas. When you
Yes,
copy
sir.
good ideas, there is no harm.
Yes, sir. Okay,
Okay,
sir. So,
it is very nice. It will be good for other students also, and
yes, sir.
I will show those stories to those other students also on your
Yes, sir.
recommendation. Thank you. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
continue now.
Sir, then came the most difficult part, the narration and discussion. Sir, since we were 14, seven repeaters and seven screened out. So we were told that we are going to have a discussion together. So first of all, sir, I gave a perfect narration. I didn't even stutter for a second. I looked at my uh, batchmates at that time, not to the assessors, and I gave a wonderful narration. I would like to say that I didn't stammer in between. I spoke perfectly, and after everyone narrated, then suddenly the assessor said that एक बार तुम्हारा नरेशन खत्म हो जाए तो उसके बाद डिस्कशन शुरू कर देना. तो जैसे ही हमारा चेस्ट नंबर 56 जो एंड 58 जो एंड वाला था उसने खत्म किया, and then it was the fish market like no one has ever seen. Like it was 14 people speaking at the same time, and for the first 20 seconds everyone was speaking. Then suddenly the assessor stopped us and said that, gentlemen, stop, this is not the way to conduct a discussion. And then they divided our group, that seven repeaters will have their own discussion and seven freshers screened out will have their own discussion. At that point of time, sir, when the group was divided in 7-7, I started my discussion, what I had decided that I was going to do during my discussion. I was able to give the starting of the discussion, like the first few sentences about the picture. And I was also able to add many points during that discussion, which is, I believe, important because there were people which were in my group who got screened in and didn't even give the conclusion or started. They just provided with good points and good narration. So I believe that पीपीटीटी का तोड़ यही है कि आप अपनी नरेशन अच्छी करो और डिस्कशन में थोड़े बहुत वैल्यूएबल पॉइंट्स ऐड करो.
Yeah, value points, and you should avoid getting into fish market kind of thing.
सर आई बिलीव दैट स्क्रीन आउट और रिपीटर्स में ये ऑब्वियस है सर. सर जब
Okay,
बनी जाती
you are granting them that they will surely do it. Yeah, everybody is very career conscious, but still, if you can manage a good discussion, that is also a icing on cake.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. After that,
sir, there is always. I would like to say one thing, that in my group during screening there were two guys who tried to calm down the whole group during the fish market. And sir, I realized that they just calmed down the whole group and they were not able to get screen in because they didn't add the valuable points. So
adding valuable point is important.
Yes,
if
sir.
you don't add valuable point, your speaking, your other activities like calming down has got no value. Add value points, then whatever you do, it is a plus extra.
Sir, so 14 of them who appeared in my group, out of them, 5 got screened in, which is, I believe, a good ratio among screened out and repeaters. And then we were.
How many were out of these 5? How many were repeaters, and how many were the old screened out?
Sir, 3 repeaters and 2 screened outs.
Yeah, this is a knowledge for the people who at time keep asking, sir, what are the scope for the repeater? I always say, firstly, there is nothing like repeater. You perform this time, you will be selected. Every performance is a fresh performance. You don't have to worry. I have seen people getting selected 8th or 9th or 10th chance. The day you perform, you will be in. It's a fantastic system. No deserving chap has ever been rejected.
Yes, sir.
System is such. Deserving person will surely be selected. Have confidence. Yeah, please continue.
Sir, now I would like to come to the memorable experience of getting screened in. सर हम वहां पे 58 लोग लाइन से खड़े हो गए. सर तो हुआ क्या कि वो स्क्रीन इन फ्रेशर्स में से सर बहुत सारे स्क्रीन इन हो गए. मैं आई बिलीव दैट फ्रेशर्स को काफी वो देते हैं कि स्क्रीन इन कर ही देते हैं. बट सर जैसे ही रिपीट वो स्क्रीन आउट वगैरह आए, सर एक नंबर उन्होंने लिया 41 और सर एक लिया 46. बीच में 5 बंदे गायब. सर आई वाज टेस्ट नंबर 46 ड्यूरिंग माय स्क्रीनिंग एंड सर आई जस्ट शाउटेड, "Here sir." And sir, I just ran to the place that screened in was standing, sir, because it was my first time getting screened in.
Yeah, it gives you real happiness, which is beyond explanation.
सर मुझे तो लगता है कि सर ये जो स्क्रीन इन होने की मोटिवेशन थी, ये मुझे एंड तक खींच के लेके गई है सर.
Yes, I remember one day कि सर स्क्रीन इन तो जरूर होना है ना?
Yes, sir.
Because that is a prestige issue, and really that pulled you up. You are a fantastic person. You are such a straightforward man. You are such a honest person. Let me tell you, you will be a very successful officer.
Thank you, sir.
You have got fantastic quality of a soldier, and let me tell you, you are a very bold person. But you are very sincere and simple also. It's a great quality of soldier.
Yes, sir.
When times will come, a person like you will really come ahead. You will really create miracles. I am very sure.
Yes, sir.
Please continue.
Sir, then मतलब AFSBs में यही होता है कि you give screening in the morning and then you have psychology in the night, during the evening. So we were very happy, and during the whole psychology, I was in such a positive mood that I just kept on attempting what they said and just kept on attempting. I wrote all the 12 TATs perfectly, and coming to SRTs, I was able to write 52 SRTs out of 60. And coming to WATs, I was able to write all the WATs, and I was able to write all the questions and their answers in so that SG, self description, SD, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I believe that you should not write anything weakness or something like that in self description. Sir, I only wrote my positive points in the self description, and nothing weakness or something like that. There was a question that what would you like to improve on in the future. So,
Yes.
sir, I just wrote that I would like to improve my physical strength, stamina, and I would मतलब इसमें मैंने खत्म कर दिया था और थोड़ा बहुत इसको स्ट्रेच कर दिया इस आंसर को, वही एक पॉइंट्स को रिपीट कर करके
That is good, and it is very difficult.
सर.
Anybody who can analyze his own mistake, it is half battle won. Yeah. After that, continue.
Sir, at around 8:39, we just came to our rooms and just slept. Sir, the candidate mess in 5 FSB Guwahati is wonderful. Like, it was my first time in a military establishment, and everyone in the candidate mess also were really good cooks. Like, we had wonderful dinner at that time, and sir बस रात को सो गए. Sir, फिर
It means like you come from a family. I think you will be the first soldier from your family.
yes sir, first generation officer.
Yeah. I think you have changed the direction of the family. I think everybody a doctor in the family. You are the first one
Yes
to be a
sir.
soldier in the family. Yeah. Yeah. Next day now.
Sir, I believe that before going to GTOs, you should also have a good night's sleep. Like, you may face some difficulties in sleeping that night, but you should know that there are more tasks tomorrow. So you should try to sleep as soon as possible.
Okay. One question I just forgot. Like some of the students they keep asking. Yeah. Any of the picture where you really felt it is very difficult, or you really struggle to write a story on that particular picture? Would you like to share any
Sir,
of the picture which you felt it was difficult for you?
sir, there were two moments during the TAT that I felt that I was having some difficulty during that time. So the first was that there was this picture in which there was this canoeing boat. So the canoe, and like those we find in Kerala, and sir, one person was rowing the canoe, and it was a night scene, and I was not able to come up with any good story for the first 30 seconds or 40 seconds. But then I suddenly came up with an idea that let's just make him participating in a rowing competition, and I wrote a wonderful story after that.
Okay. What was the second picture?
So second moment was the blank story. So there were
Oh,
people that the moment the blank story showed up, they started writing. Like, they had already came up with the story. They had prepared for the blank story. I would also like to recommend the students to prepare for that blank story also, because it took me a lot of time to think about a good story at that particular moment.
okay. It means you had not planned a story on the blank picture, and you are recommending that for at least for the blank picture, they should have a ready-made story which they can just finish in writing with the speed.
Sir, maybe, sir, I would not like to, like, if you can be imaginative and think a story at that particular point, then you can also make a very good story. So what I did was I wrote a story on my life experience.
Okay. Okay. Life
Uh,
experience of what?
Sir, a visit to the Manas National Park. I just changed the name from Zubin to something like Saksham, and I just copied my whole experience in that story.
Okay, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Good. Okay, now you can start with the GTO task.
Yes, sir. So, sir, after having a good rest at night, there were 9 people in my room. Sir, 9 candidates in my room. And, sir, the moment we were taken to the GTO grounds, first of all, we had the introductory questions. Sir, like, we all have to introduce ourselves. And they asked a few more questions like, what did you do during the lockdown? how well did you how did you prepare for SSB and things like that. And sir, after that there was a GD session. And sir, in GD session, I realized that you get ample amount of time to participate. So like it is not like the like discussion test during PPDT. It is the group discussion is very easy as compared to discussion test.
It is easy when you have got valuable points and you know head and tail of the topic. If you do not know head and tail of the topic, then really it becomes difficult. But anybody who has prepared current affairs and other miscellaneous topic well, he will be able to participate well. Yeah, please.
Sir, I would like to give one tip to the people who are watching this video. Sir, that you should maintain good relations with your candidates which are in your group. Like when you sleep at night before, or make good impressions on them, and always be a helper. Like a leader also has a quality to help and make his group move forward. So I was like that I should socialize more and make my group more comfortable with my opinions and my preferences. So sir, during the group discussion, I was able to get ample amount of, sir, the topics for the group discussion were sir, ISRO, the Space Agency of India, and our budget related to NASA. And sir, second topic was how to contribute to better higher education in India. Sir, be it privatization, funding, or research and facilities. Okay, sir. So moving on, we had our group planning exercise. Sir, I would like to say that it was one of the most enjoyable tasks in my whole SSB.
Why so?
Sir, it was like we were coming up with ideas like no one can even think of. Like there were some people in my group who said that we can cross 1 kilometer of river bank in 5 minutes. I said that how is it possible? Are you running on water? And sir, there were times that our whole group were laughing, and even the GTO sir were smiling. And sir, it was a very good task. But uh, I would like to recommend that everyone follow a particular format of writing the our ideas. Like
The format which you were taught, you could find it useful
yes, sir, totally.
and you were comfortable, I think.
Yes, sir. Sir, I practiced a lot on that planning and practiced hard for that of writing faster during group planning exercise. And so later on, after our exercise ended, the GTO sir, who became a bit angry on us after having such a wasteful discussion, told us to get out of the room. Like there was small rooms in which we were having our group planning exercise, group discussion, and told us to get out of our room and go back to our mess. So then we got some refreshments, that chai, बिस्किट्स वगैरह मिले, और सर उसके बाद फिर मेन जो आउटडोर टास्क है सर वो शुरू हो गए, लाइक द पीजीटी एंड एचजीटी.
How about your lecturate?
सर लेक्चरेट एंड में हुआ सर.
Okay, fine. I thought you must have forgotten.
No,
Okay,
sir.
then, yeah.
Sir, in PGT, sir, the whole group performed, I believe, a bit on the bad side. Like we were able to complete the obstacle 1 and 2, but we were not able to complete obstacle 3. And sir, since I was leading the group, the GTO were most of the time was looking at me, and whenever I was not able to come up with the idea, I was looking at him. So sir, at that moment, it was more like I was looking at him and he was looking at me, and the whole group was looking at me. So sir, no one was giving ideas at that time. So we got stuck in the third obstacle, but the GTO sir gave us ideas on how we can do it. He gave us hints, and the moment I caught those hints, I took those bully planks and just made the bridges and ropes, knots, and carried the group forward.
Okay. I think you would like to recommend that whatever hint or question which GTO puts up at that time, if one is careful, one gets positive ideas.
Yes, sir.
and listening sincerely and seriously to the GTO's instruction will be useful.
Yes, sir. Sir, one must listen to everything that what assessor says. Sir, they should not even miss a single word. Like they should have the whole briefing in their mind and each and everything. और सर सो वो पेनल्टीज और फाइन्स वगैरह जो हैं उनको रिलीजियसली फॉलो करना है. ऐसा नहीं कि सर कहीं गिर गए तो वहीं से उठ के प्लैंक पे वापस चढ़ गए. सर वापस स्टार्टिंग लाइन पे जाके फिर से स्टार्ट करना है.
You have to be very honest while doing these obstacles.
Yes, sir. Sir, 2 times even I fell off the plank and I just went to the starting line and started again.
Good. That is the honesty. Sometimes people think that GTO may not have noticed, but gentlemen, be sure whatever you are doing, GTO is observing each and everything. You can't escape his eyes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, next.
Sir, then PGT task just ended and sir were like the GTO was a little annoyed with our group. Like most of the time in the group planning exercise also, we were not really performing very good. And in the PGT, somehow we were able to clear obstacle 3. And then he said that, okay, gentlemen, let's move on to the next task. So then came the HGT. Sir, HGT was comparatively easier and it is much easier than PGT. Sir, it would hardly take a person 10 minutes to come up with ideas during HGT. And sir, what's more important is that sir GTO प्रेशर डालने की बहुत कोशिश करेगा. सर पीछे से ऐसे बोलेगा कि ये आइडिया काम कर रहा है, खुद चल के देखो इस पे आइडिया काम कर रहा है. सर अगर आपको मतलब मैं अपने व्यूअर जो भी ये वीडियो देख रहे हैं मैं इनको बताना चाहूंगा सर, इफ यू थिंक दैट योर आइडिया इज वर्केबल जस्ट गिव इट अ ट्राई. गिर गए कोई टेंशन नहीं, फिर से आ जाना स्टार्टिंग लाइन पे. बट जीटीओ का जो वो होता है ना प्रेशराइजिंग मोमेंट, उस टाइम पे ज्यादा प्रेशर नहीं लेना, बस वो जो कह रहा है सुनते रहो और काम करते रहो.
Okay, that's nice. Yes, what after that?
Sir, HGT was very good. Like the four chess numbers that were there in my group, we had an awesome HGT. Like we completed in 5 minutes, and GTO sir said, "Wow, now go back to your room." And so we went back to our rooms. Sir, what happened after HGT? Like we went back to our mess. The day ended, and sir, every time I believe that during group testing, I believe that we should make good relations with our candidates and group mates even during when we are in the room. Sir, we enjoyed a lot. We shared each other's experiences, life, memorable memories, and many things. And sir, what exactly happened after we enjoyed a lot. Like we kept our motivation high and we kept on enjoying, and the whole board were knowing that group of the room number 2 are very naughty and mischievous guys, so be careful of them. But sir, we didn't try to do something out of the box that would affect the board. Like we were told that we should not roam around after 8 o'clock, so we didn't roam around after 8 o'clock. And
8 o'clock is quite dark time in eastern part of the country,
yes sir.
and sun also rises very early. I
Yes sir.
think around 4:30 it is totally bright.
Yes sir.
Yeah. Next.
Okay. Sir, the main, I believe that what made my difference in the SSB was the GTO day 2. Sir,
In total, it was the third day now.
yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir. After screening, the second day was GTO 1 and third day is GTO 2.
Okay.
Okay, sir. So what happened that we had command task, and like I believe that it is one of the tasks that in which group testing officer like confirms what he has seen during PGTs and HGTs. Like he called us in the order of which he thought that he would recommend us to the assessors. He said that he was going to call in a random order, but actually what happened that he called us in an order in which we were going to get recommended. So what happened that the starting chess numbers were getting very easy tasks. They just did the task and just came back to the shed. But when it came to the last three, the most prospect, the my group mates. So what exactly happened that during the command task, we were given very difficult obstacles, and we were, and the GTO was interfering a lot. He said that Balli was broken. Now what you are gonna do? Rope is broken. Now what you are gonna do? And said we just kept on giving ideas and ideas and ideas. And sir, I believe that the load that we carry during our all the GTOs, be it PGT, SGT, is very important. We must ensure that the load crosses the finish line with the first person or the second person at most. Yes, sir.
That's nice. That is important. Yes. After
And
that,
the command task ended, and GTO was also GTO started smiling at me. I don't know for what reason, but he started smiling. So I got even more motivation to work harder, sir. And then came the individual obstacles.
tell me like how you selected the two subordinates which you are supposed to call for the task. Like out of this, your squad. When you are the commander, what were the basis of the selection? The
Sir,
person whom you selected, what were the qualities? What were your QRs for the selections?
Actually, what happened that I keenly observed everyone during our PGTs, SGTs, and the time that we spent in our rooms. Sir, firstly, I chose the person, chess number 10, which was very healthy, and I believe that he would be a very good support, and he was very healthy and very powerful. And sir, the second person I chose was chess number 18, and he was very, sir, I would like to say furtila. सर सैनिक स्कूल का बच्चा था और सर फुर्तीला मतलब कहते हैं सर कूद कूद के चलता था सर वो ऑब्स्टिकल्स पे.
He had a lot of Josh.
Yes sir. Sir, I
And
chose both of
his
them.
motivation was very high, it means.
Yes sir. But I believe but I also saw that they both just listened to my commands without any second thoughts. I chose them because they were going to listen to me without any second thoughts.
So how you performed, like how was the task? Was it really difficult or you had some ideas or you ran out of
Sir,
the idea?
Sir, I came with many ideas, and the GTO kept on pushing me to come up with better ideas, better ideas. He kept on pushing me to my limits until I said uh, that this is the most I can do. And then he sent me to the shed. I was the
Was there
last
any
person.
was there any occasion like where you felt totally washed out, blank, no ideas?
Sir, what exactly happened was during the command task when the starting chess numbers were being called, they were able to they were able to complete the command task in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and come back running to the shed. And I was there standing for 5 to 6 minutes. And after that, he said that your bully is broken. Now what you are gonna do? And sir, I just took the rope and tied it across the obstacles. I just first of all, I was the last person in the starting line. I sent my subordinates first with the load and told them to tie the knots from that side. I will tie the knots from this side. I made some planks and rope bridge.
Was there any occasion where you thought of taking suggestion from your subordinates?
Sir, not exactly, sir. Sir, I saw that they were looking at me all the time, so I decided not to ask anything from them, and I just kept on performing my best.
Yeah, that's nice. What kind of questions which GTO was asking, which by which he was trying to put you people under pressure?
Sir, sir, I just forgot this that during the brief moment that we were being briefed about the command task, he also asked us some questions like GTO अपनी तसल्ली के लिए हमसे कुछ कुछ सवाल ऐसे ही मतलब पूछ रहा था, अपने आप को कंफर्टेबल वगैरह बनाने के लिए भी और हमें कुछ देखने के लिए भी। सर एक्चुअली हुआ क्या था कि सर मैं ना अपनी बेडशीट, हमें बोला गया था अपने कॉलेज लेटर में कि बेडशीट्स लाना मत भूलना। तो सर मतलब फनी इंस्टेंस ही है सर एक। तो जैसे ही मैं बोर्ड में पहुंचा तो उन्होंने कहा कि सर जीटीओ सर ने ही बोला था कि जेंटलमैन कैडेट्स, इफ यू वांट एनीथिंग द बोर्ड इज हियर, जस्ट आस्क अस। सर मैंने हाथ खड़ा कर दिया उस टाइम पे। मैंने कहा सर मैं बेडशीट भूल जाऊं। फिर वो कहते ओह बेडशीट बेडशीट, ओके ओके। फिर सर कुछ करके उन्होंने अरेंज करी बेडशीट्स कहीं से और मेरे को मिल गई। सर बट ये बेडशीट सर पूरे इंटरव्यू मेरे को हॉन्ट करी है सर,
अच्छा,
क्योंकि
क्यों?
ये सब सब इंटरलिंक्ड है। सर मेरे से जीटीओ ने कमांड टास्क से पहले पूछा कि तुम अपनी बेडशीट भूल गए घर पे, ऐसा कैसे होता है, इतनी भुलक्कड़ कैसे हो तुम लोग, मतलब व्हाई आर यू सो फॉरगेटफुल। मैंने कहा सर सॉरी सर, नेक्स्ट टाइम आई विल रीड द कॉल अप लेटर मोर केयरफुली। और सर ये बेडशीट की स्टोरी यहाँ एंड नहीं करी इंटरव्यू
अच्छा,
में। मतलब मैंने अभी तक तो डेप्यूटी प्रेसिडेंट को देखा भी नहीं था बोर्ड के, उन्होंने भी मेरे से यही पूछा तुम अपनी बेडशीट भूल गए। मैंने कहा कि यार जीटीओ सर के मन में कोई बात ही नहीं रहती एक बेडशीट ही तो मांगी थी मैंने बोर्ड से। वो इंटरव्यू के दौरान भी मेरे से यही बोलते, हाउ कैन यू बी सो फॉरगेटफुल, यू फॉरगॉट द बेडशीट्स।
okay.
सर पूरे टाइम उन्होंने मेरे को बेडशीट पे
So,
तंग
so
किया।
that shit haunted you throughout.
यस सर। सर नेक्स्ट टाइम आई एम गोइंग टू दिस मेडिकल कॉन्फ्रेंस ना, सर अपनी दो दो बेडशीट्स लेके जाऊंगा।
No, that's nice. That's nice. It can happen, but you handle it well, and
यस
you
सर।
were confident. You were confident. Very nice. There's no problem. Yeah. What other questions other than bedsheet GTO had during the GTO task, which was bothering you?
Sir, there was this one question that everyone asked me. Sir, that you are coming from a family of doctors. What are you doing here? Do you want to join the defense forces, or are you just here to have gala time? And I go, sir, I am very fixated on joining the defense forces, specifically Indian Air Force. And sir, I'm not here to have gala time. I'm here to get recommended. सर कॉन्फिडेंस मतलब बहुत ही मतलब मैंने उनको दिखाया अपना कि
Very nice.
आए हैं यहाँ पे तो रेकमेंड होके ही जाएंगे।
Yes. Even you can feel the vibes even during SSB also. When you are doing well, you can feel those vibes. Yes, whatever you are doing, things are going well,
यस
and
सर।
good idea strikes you.
यस सर।
But all this is possible when you have really worked hard, when you have prepared well. Yes.
Sir,
So,
next came the individual obstacles. Sir, at this point, sir, it was the tipping scale. Like my performance just started to during the individual obstacles. So, sir, I was a bit less prepared, but I somehow managed to complete 6 obstacles. The most points one, like that 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like that.
okay, you could do the tougher ones in the beginning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Sir,
Then you ran out. Then you ran out of time.
yes, sir. Sir, but I would like to share my experience on the individual obstacles. सर
Okay.
एक थिंकिंग आती है सर, टाइगर लीप पे जब आप प्लेटफॉर्म पे 15 फीट ऊपर, सर वो 15 फीट ऊपर था सर, 1.5 फ्लोर के बराबर। सर हम
Okay.
व्हेन वी स्टूड ऑन दैट प्लेटफॉर्म, देयर वाज दिस थिंग दैट सर यू टोल्ड मी दैट यू हैड वन ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स हु वेंट अप द टाइगर लीप बट डिडंट जंप। मैंने
Yes.
उस टाइम पे सर आपका ये चीज मेरे दिमाग में आई। मैंने कहा ये 1600 किलोमीटर दूर आए हैं, यहाँ से टाइगर लीप के चक्कर में तो नहीं जाएंगे बाहर।
Nice.
सर मैं कूद गया। सर मेरे को पता था कि मैं पकड़ तो पाऊंगा नहीं, लेकिन सर मैं फिर भी कूद गया। सर वो बाय चांस वो रोप आ गई हाथ में, और लेकिन मैं स्लाइड करते हुए नीचे आया तो फिंगर्स वगैरह पे सारे बर्न्स वगैरह आ गए। तो उसके बाद
डरना नहीं ऑब्स्टेकल करते हो।
यस सर। सर आपने बोला था कि छोटी छोटी लड़कियां भी कर जाती हैं ये ऑब्स्टेकल। मैंने कहा सर ये तो गलत बात हो जाएगा अगर हम ना कर पाए।
नहीं, यस। एंड
यस
यू नो वो 15 फीट से उस ऑब्स्टेकल को करने का और नीचे आने का भी आसान तरीका वही है. जंप, catch hold of the rope, make a proper grip, and otherwise sometimes your fingers may get hurt. But
Yes,
that
sir.
is the easiest way. So why not?
सर वो 15 फीट पे खड़ा होने के बाद ऐसा लगता है कि सर यहाँ से अगर वापस भी जाना हुआ ना तो ऐसा लगता है कि गिर गए तो सर्वर मतलब इंजरी काफी एक्सपीरियंस कर सकते हैं हम. तो बेस्ट वहां से जल्दी उतरने का यही है कि रोप पकड़ो और नीचे आ जाओ.
Okay, good, good,
Yes, sir.
nice. You shared this experience. Yes.
सर बट इसके बाद हुआ क्या था कि सर मेरे फिंगर्स वगैरह बर्न हो गए थे और मेरी लैसरेशंस वगैरह मैंने काफी सफर की थी अपने लेग्स पे भी. सर वो
Okay.
पैर से भी ग्रिप बनाने की कोशिश की थी ना सर, तो लैसरेशंस पैर पे भी आ गई. तो सर फिर अगला था हमारा टायर जंप AFSB में होते सर. तो वो मैं उसके सामने बस ऐसे जाके खड़ा हो गया. जनरली तो GTO को 3 मिनट के बाद घंटी बजा देनी चाहिए कि हो गया जेंटलमैन, आपका टाइम हो गया, अब आप जाके शेड में चल जाओ. लेकिन नहीं, उन्होंने मेरी घंटी नहीं बजाई. मैं उनकी तरफ देख रहा हूँ कि यार GTO सर घंटी बजाए, मैं शेड की तरफ दौड़ू, मुझे टायर जंप ना करना पड़े. वो मेरे को देख रहे हैं कि तू कर कि तू कर. मैंने सर ऊपर टायर पकड़ा, अंदर से कूदने की कोशिश की और सर मैं गिर गया बाहर की तरफ. मैंने
But
कहा
you,
सर मैंने ट्राई तो किया अपना बेस्ट.
okay, very good. Very nice. You can't leave obstacle. You have to try your best.
यस सर.
And these can, one has to be slightly tactful. Anybody who could have practiced or who is physically fit, or one has to, like, these are not actually obstacles. It just tests you for, these are the basics actually.
यस सर. सर जो सैनिक स्कूल वगैरह के तो थे, एक दो RIMC के भी थे सर, वो ऐसे फटफट बंदर की तरह सर ऐसे रोप पे चढ़ जाते थे, ऊपर छू के आते थे और नीचे आ जाते थे. मैंने कहा
And I'm very sure military school guys, Sanic school, RMC, they must be repeating the obstacles.
यस सर. सर वन ऑफ देम डिड 14 ऑब्स्टिकल्स.
Yeah,
एंड सर
certainly.
ताजुब की बात यह है कि उसने टाइगर लीप 2 बार किया. और मैं मतलब वही था कि यहाँ पे ऐसे लोग हैं जिन्होंने टाइगर लीप करा ही नहीं, और ये सैनिक स्कूल वाले हैं, ये 2 2 बार टाइगर लीप कर रहे हैं.
Yeah, Sanic school, military school, of course, the tough guys, undoubtedly.
यस
Physically,
सर.
they are very fit.
सर वही बस मैंने
Okay.
करेज दिखाया कि कूद गए टाइगर लीप से, और
Yeah.
वही
Had I
डिफरेंस
not
है.
told you, had I not told you or shared that experience of the other boy,
यस सर.
I think you could have committed the blunder.
सर आई डिडंट कमिट दैट ब्लंडर सर. आपने बोला था कि नहीं करना. मैं कूद गया
I
सर.
always share that experience because that boy was very capable. He was very capable, and I had identified this quality. I had asked him to practice. There was a tree in his house. I told him to practice it by keeping 5 6 chairs one on other, or some that a slanting that ladder which is there, and go and stand up and catch. And this is the only thing which he had not done because of the COVID. He could not have gone out, but he had one resource, and I had very initially I had noted down his weaknesses. I forced him to go to city and bring a rope to put on that neem tree in his house.
यस सर.
He could learn climbing, but then when I asked him to jump, he was telling, "Sir, I am doing every day." Sometime, even after, like, I had doubt, I had just believed in him,
यस
and
सर.
there he committed the blunder. I am telling you, he was a wonderful student. He had, but yes, this is a big blunder which he committed. I share with you people because even, like, if any other who commits this blunder, I think not warranted.
यस सर.
Yeah. Okay. So obstacles done. After
नहीं तो
that,
एक लास्ट मैं शेयर करना चाहूंगा सर ऑब्स्टिकल्स पे ही,
okay.
कि सर वो टायर में से सब सब जब हम कूदे अंदर से, तो लैंडिंग अच्छी नहीं हुई सर. टायर से निकलने के बाद सर हम गिर गए ऐसे ही फ्लो मतलब वहां पे, और खड़े होके शेड के साथ था सर मेडिकल रूम, सीधा वहां जाके दौड़े. और बाद में GTO ने घंटी बजाई जब मैं मेडिकल ऑफिस के अंदर घुसा. सर
Okay.
वही एक था कि और फिर सर मेडिकल ऑफिसर बोलता कि अरे तुम्हें लगता था कि तुम कर पाओगे, तुमने कराई क्यों जब तुम्हें पता है कि तुम नहीं कर पाओगे, तुम्हारे हाथ पैर छिल गए, तुम्हारी सॉक्स आदि खून से भर गई है। मैंने कहा सर बस कर दिया, ऊपर गए थे तो करके आ गए।
ओके ओके, चलो गुड।
सर फिर उन्होंने पट्टी वट्टी करी और जीटीओ सर भी मतलब बस कुछ बोले बिना चले गए
I
फिर।
hope I hope doctor didn't ask about the bed sheets.
यस सर, नो सर।
Okay, okay, that's nice. Yes. After that,
Sir, then since I had faced lacerations and bruises on my legs and arms, I didn't participate well in FGT. Like during PGTs and FGTs, I just took the plank and just stood on obstacles and just kept on completing them and completing them. Sir, during FGT, I provided with ideas and other things since I was not able to perform perfectly.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Still, you were active. That was more important.
Yes, sir.
Remaining active in the group, in spite of like injury, is part of the soldierly life. But you can't be inactive. You maintain your activity level, and you were very much present in the game. That was more important. Yes. After
Yes,
that,
sir. Sir, FGT completed and we had our lecturate. So everyone was tired at that point of time, but since I was in the later chest numbers, I was able to recover myself before going to lecturate. I took the topic on Indo-Afghanistan relations, and
this was a well covered topic.
yes, sir, I put many different types of points, ideas, facts, and just kept on. And I believe that 3 minutes is a very short time for a lecturate. Like you give 3 points and they ring the first bell after 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And then they say that you should just conclude. So, sir, I just concluded in that point and the lecturate ended.
But you must have included some lot of fact, figure, and data in your lecture.
Yes, sir. सर वही सर इंडो अफगानिस्तान के रिलेशंस कैसे थे सर, पास्ट में पार्लियामेंट में भी हमने उनकी बनाने में मदद की थी, उनकी क्रिकेट टीम वगैरह को भी हमने ही सपोर्ट किया था, बीसीसीआई ने सपोर्ट किया था सर, और काफी ऑपरेशंस वगैरह। सर अब तो जैसे फैक्ट्स भूल गया मैं वहां से निकलने के बाद, लेकिन बोल दिया थे काफी सारी चीजें
But
उस
you
टाइम।
covered. Okay, nice.
यस
What were the topics which even other students got it? In
सर,
case you could recollect.
देवर टॉपिक्स लाइक वुमेन रिजर्वेशन बिल, सर देवर लाइक जेंडर इनइक्वालिटी, there was foreign direct investment, and one chap which was very lucky, he got COVID-19 and he just
Okay.
kept on saying and things about COVID this, COVID that, and I believe that his lecturate was the best.
Why it was best?
So because he didn't stammer, he had good points and he had good facts and knowledge about facts and figures, and he had latest updates on the total number of cases in the world, in India. He, he knew about the vaccines, sir, and he had knowledge about many
Yeah,
different things.
it means he had facts, he had figures, he had data, he had the latest name, he had a knowledge in depth about the subject,
Yes, sir.
and that's very important. Yeah.
Sir, then the lecture ended, and GTO sir gave us some motivation that I saw many of you perform very well, and I will surely put your name during the conference.
Okay.
एंड सर बस वो खुश हो गए तो हम भी खुश हो गए कि अच्छा है, चलो जीटीओ टास्क खत्म हो गया। बट सर हुआ क्या कि मेरा पहला ही इंटरव्यू था।
Okay.
उसी दिन सर, जीटीओ वाले दिन ही मैं बड़ी
What was it means you had a chest number, I think 1 or 2, something like that?
सर 17, सर पीछे से स्टार्ट किया उन्होंने 18 से, और सर 18
Okay.
के बाद 17।
Okay, nice.
और सर लेसरेशन वगैरह कर रखी थी तो बड़ी मुश्किल से सर कोट वगैरह पहना, टाई वगैरह पहनी, और मतलब मेरे ग्रुप वगैरह ने भी काफी मदद की। मैंने बहुत उनको अनरीजनेबल चीजें बोली कि शर्ट पहना दे ऐसे हाथ में कफ वगैरह कर दे सर। मतलब ग्रुप ने काफी मेरा हेल्प किया उस टाइम पे रेडी वगैरह होने में। फिर वही
Okay.
अच्छा रिलेशन बना के रखा मैंने ग्रुप के साथ। बस फिर सर इंटरव्यू में गए, और तो इंटरव्यू में सर उन्होंने मेरे से पहले तो सर पीआईक्यू के बारे में हर चीज पूछ ली। उन्होंने पीआईक्यू,
Initially, you must have spent some time in waiting room since you were the second one to be interviewed.
नो सर, देयर वाज द प्रेसिडेंट एंड द डेप्यूटी प्रेसिडेंट, सीनियर इंटरव्यूइंग ऑफिसर, and one chap went to the president and I went to the deputy president.
Okay. So you are
And
the first one in your series
yes sir.
with the deputy. Okay. So
And
how?
sir, I kept the interview totally formal. I didn't waste my time or the interviewing officer's time. I kept my answers brief, and I kept them short. The interview was more like, yes sir, sure sir, I would like to comment on this, and yes sir.
And how many questions on PIQ he would have asked you?
Sir, it was like they opened my PIQ. They asked everything about what I wrote in that. They even asked me that you don't look like 174 centimeters. I told them, yes, sir, I look like I am 174 centimeters. So they just checked everything that was written in PIQ.
Okay.
सर वो पीयर काउंसलर हूँ ना सर अपने स्कूल का, तो उसके बारे में उनको भी काफी मैंने एक्सप्लेन किया।
I told you.
यस सर।
I had made a questionnaire for you on that. Every candidate should prepare his own questionnaire on what his hobbies, what question can be asked, or what on extracurricularity he can be asked. If you prepare in advance, it really serves you well. Yeah, please continue.
Sir, and during the whole interview, it was totally formal. I was speaking in English and he was also speaking in English. सर कुछ एक्सपीरियंसेस ऐसे, मतलब मेरे बैचमेट्स आके बता रहे कि प्रेसिडेंट हम पे गुस्सा हो गया, कहता पुशअप्स करो मेरे रूम में। सर मतलब काफी प्रेशर वगैरह भी डाला है काफी बच्चों पे, प्रेसिडेंट
Okay.
और डेप्यूटी प्रेसिडेंट ने।
What was the difficult question which you felt really difficult asked by the interviewing officer?
सर एक इंटरव्यू का सर टिपिंग पॉइंट बताना चाहूंगा सर मैं सबको, कि
Okay.
उन्होंने मेरे से पूछा कि हाउ डिड यू प्रिपेयर फॉर योर एसएसबी। मैंने कहा कि सर आई स्टार्टेड डूइंग सम फिजिकल एक्सरसाइज एंड वर्कआउट, एंड I started preparing current affairs, service related information and geopolitics. I believe that I shouldn't have said this because मेरे जो बाकी बैचमेट्स वगैरह थे उनसे ज्यादा करंट अफेयर्स वगैरह नहीं पूछे, वही थोड़ा बहुत ओलंपिक्स के बारे में पूछा। मेरे में सर वो घुस गए टॉपिक में, उन्होंने C-17 तक ले गए, उन्होंने काफी प्लेन्स वगैरह के बारे में पूछा, उन्होंने तेजस वगैरह के बारे में पूछा। उन्होंने मेरे से यही पूछा कि मान लो तुम यहाँ से रिकमेंड हो गए तो क्या उड़ाओगे, सुखोई या राफेल। मैंने कहा सर मन तो कर रहा है सर दोनों उड़ा लूं, लेकिन मोस्टली आई वुड प्रेफर टू फ्लाई सुखोई। एंड सर उसके फिर रीजंस वगैरह पूछे। सर वो और डिग करते गए सर, डीप तक गए। उन्होंने फिर प्लेन्स के बारे में पूछा, प्लेन्स कहाँ बने थे, कैसे बने थे, क्यों लेके आए इनको। सर बहुत कुछ पूछा उन्होंने। सर एक पॉइंट ऐसा आया कि जब उन्होंने टफ, मतलब बहुत ही टिपिकल टफ क्वेश्चंस कर दिए थे ना, उस टाइम पे सर थोड़ी गलतियां वगैरह होने लगी थी। मैंने गलती से बोल दिया था कि C-17 को लॉकहीड मार्टिन ने बनाया है, लेकिन असल में उसने बोइंग ने बनाया उसको। तो मैंने रियलाइज किया कि ज्यादा देर अगर इंटरव्यू चला तो मैं हो जाऊंगा, ये दिक्कत हो जाएगी। तो मैंने एंड पे बोल दिया कि सर आई डोंट नो। तो उन्होंने टॉपिक भी क्लोज कर दिया।
Okay, very nice. What other difficult question you were asked? This was one.
Sir, family related questions were asked a lot. Sir, mostly the rapid fire rounds that were put in front of me, like the 5-6 questions in a row. I remembered each and every question and I listened to him and then started answering.
Okay. So what you suggest the defense aspirants should do, or what is must to clear the interview successfully, or the way you will be able to impress the interviewing officer?
सर मतलब वहां के सबके एक्सपीरियंसेस सुनने के बाद इंटरव्यू के, सर दो तीन चीजें मैं कमेंट करना चाहूंगा कि पहला कि अपने पीआईक्यू में तुम जो भी लिख रहे हो ना, तो मैं उसके बारे में टिप से मतलब सर स्टार्टिंग से लेके एंड तक के बारे में सब कुछ पता होना चाहिए।
I think we practice filling it up 3-4 times, I think.
यस सर, 4 times।
And every time you come out with corrections, improvements.
यस सर।
Okay,
एंड
nice.
सर द सेकंड थिंग आई वुड लाइक टू से दैट कीप इट फॉर्मल। तुम एसएसबी में कुछ कर रहे हो और जीटीओ को पता चल गया कि तुम ये मतलब इंटरव्यूइंग ऑफिसर को पता चल गया कि तुम ये सब कर रहे हो, और वो तुमसे पूछे तो अपोलोजाइज कर देना। बोल जाएंगे सर सॉरी गलती से हो गया, अगली बार से हम ये रिपीट नहीं करेंगे। नहीं तो वो गुस्सा हो जाते हैं, इंटरव्यूइंग ऑफिसर गुस्सा हो जाते हैं, प्रेशर डालने लग
वो
जाते हैं।
इसमें नहीं होते, वो they just want to test you under pressure.
यस सर।
Actually, in their hearts of heart, they are not disturbed or unhappy with anyone. It is the way of it's the way of testing. They have to adopt different approaches.
यस सर।
हाँ,
सर और कभी अपने इंटरव्यूइंग ऑफिसर को कम नहीं समझना चाहिए कि आपको
yes,
लगता है कि आपको अपनी चीज जो आपने हॉबी लिख रखी है उसके बारे में बहुत ज्यादा पता है, तो सर आप मतलब जो भी ये सुन रहे हैं तो मैं उनको बता दूं कि वो गलत है, कि इंटरव्यूइंग ऑफिसर को हमारे बारे में हमसे ज्यादा पता है।
yes, and especially you see the army officers who are interviewing you. They are all rounders. They are very outstanding sports person. They have been good in academics, and their knowledge about country is very vast.
यस सर।
And they are very sharp people, very well, very highly experienced people. So don't try to fool them. Be straightforward. Bring out the correct thing. Answer what you have been asked.
यस सर।
No faltering, and you should be very confident in doing all these things. Yes.
एंड सर there was after I completed my interviewing officer the interview task, and I just stood up and thanked him and walked out of the room feeling satisfied that I was able to give a good interview.
How long your interview lasted?
Sir, my interview was the longest in the whole my whole batch. It went for 1 hour and 25 minutes.
Okay, good. Fine. Any question on which you got struck during interview?
Sir, since my father expired, he tried to put some mental questions on me, like what happened, sir, different things. But he tried to get me emotional. But at that point, I decided that this is not the way how I want the interview to go. And I just corrected myself back and started giving better answers.
Good. You
Sir,
recollected your confidence.
yes, sir. Sir, probing वगैरह बहुत करते हैं सर वो, कि
It,
आपने कुछ बोला।
it is part of the techniques.
Yes, sir.
It is part of the techniques. Yes. What else he asked?
सर बस यही सब था, बाकी डिटेल्स में तो हर बंदे से अलग अलग ही पूछते हैं सर, हर बंदे से अलग अलग बिहेव करते हैं वो।
Yes. Okay. Then how about the conference?
सर थर्ड डे मेरा टोटली फ्री था, इसके बाद मतलब जैसे थर्ड डे कंप्लीट हुआ और
Third
फोर्थ
day
डे।
means in actual it was 4th day.
यस सर, फोर्थ डे वाज टोटally free, and at that point I realized I was very anxious that what have I done throughout my 3 days. I have done everything, now I don't have any chance to participate, prove myself. वो दिन सर काफी मतलब वो था कि एंजाइटी में कि क्या करा यार, कैसे करा, अच्छा करा बुरा किया। फिर सर काम डाउन होके अगले दिन सर कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई। सर एक चीज मैं बताना चाहूंगा, मतलब अगर कोई नहीं भी सुनेगा तो कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है, कि सर कॉन्फ्रेंस के टाइम ऐसा होता है कि जब मतलब जब वो होता है घंटी बजती है रूम की, तो अंदर जो असेसर्स वगैरह बैठे होते हैं वो आपके बारे में डिस्कस करना शुरू कर देते हैं आपके घुसने से पहले। आप बाहर बैठे होते हो बस चेयर पर, और सर मेरे को अंदर से आवाजें आ रही थी कि मेरे पे कुछ ज्यादा ही डिस्कशन वगैरह कर रहे हैं। मेरे को जीटीओ सर की भी आवाजें आ रही थी अंदर से, साइकोलॉजी वाले सर की भी आवाजें आ रही थी अंदर से। सर बहुत मतलब डिस्कशन डिस्कशन करते रहे सर मेरे पे। तो सर मैंने कहा कि ठीक है यार, ये इतनी डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं तो अपना चांस तो है कुछ रेकमेंड होने का। सर जैसे ही मैंने कॉन्फ्रेंस वाला रूम खोला, मतलब साथ में तो एक वो थे वारंट ऑफिसर जिन्होंने रूम खोला, और मैंने गुड आफ्टरनून जैसे ही बोला ना सर, सर सामने 8 ऑफिसर्स इन द ब्यूटीफुल ब्लू स्काई ब्लू यूनिफॉर्म ऑफ द इंडियन एयरफोर्स बैठे हुए थे सर। सर इतना ग्लिटर कर रहे थे सर, मेरी आंखें ही नहीं खुल रही थी उनके सामने।
Oh, nice.
सर प्रेसिडेंट ने बोला कि ओके सुबिन कम एंड सिट हियर। सर उन्होंने वही एक दो सर कॉन्फ्रेंस में ज्यादा चीजें नहीं पूछते। उन्होंने पूछा कि जुबिन मतलब तुम्हारे नाम का एक कंपोजर भी है बहुत फेमस। मैंने कहा
Did
हाँ
we
जी
discuss
सर।
this point?
हाँ जी।
I
मैंने कहा
asked
सर
him, tell me famous Jovins.
यस सर।
Yeah.
मैंने कहा सर एक जुबिन मेहता है द फेमस कंपोजर, एंड सर दूसरा है जुबिन नौटियाल जो बहुत अच्छा गाता है। तो प्रेसिडेंट कहता गुड गुड, सो यू डोंट लिसन टू सॉन्ग्स। मैंने कहा सर हम भी गाने सुनते हैं, इंग्लिश और हिंदी। सर पूरा इंटरव्यू वैसे इंग्लिश में ही था, मतलब थोड़ा मैं सेक ऑफ बेटर एक्सप्लेनेशन मैं इंग्लिश में हिंदी में बोल रहा हूँ। एंड सर later on in the conference they also asked me the meaning of my name. I told them that the meaning of my name is the one who touches the sky. It's a Persian name, and the motto of the Indian Air Force is touch the sky with glory. Sir, it is the perfect combination.
And we discussed this question also, in case you remember.
Yes sir.
I asked you the same question, and then you told me this is a Persian name. Then I was telling you, you have updated me. I used to think, what is the actual name? What is the meaning of the name?
Yes sir.
Okay, so you were very happy. What else he asked?
सर बस यही बोला कि परफेक्ट कॉम्बिनेशन। तो वहां पे जो जितने लोग थे उनके मुंह पे स्माइल वाइल आने लग गई। मैंने कहा ठीक है यार, अब तो काफी चांस है, अब तो हो ही जाएंगे। सर मैंने बोला ओके सम सजेशंस एंड समथिंग। मैंने कहा सर नो सजेशंस, एवरीथिंग वाज रियली नाइस इन द बोर्ड। सर उठे, थैंक यू करा सबको, मतलब सर ऐसे बोलते हैं कि प्रेसिडेंट को ही जाके बोलो गुड आफ्टरनून सर। मैंने सबकी तरफ देख के ऐसे ही बोला कि गुड आफ्टरनून सर, एंड सबकी तरफ ही देख के बोला थैंक यू सर।
Okay.
और उठ के मेरा कॉन्फ्रेंस खत्म।
Okay. Any other incident or any occasion which shared by the other candidates? Anything?
सर एक बहुत ही मतलब फनी इंसिडेंट है सर, मतलब जो सुन रहे होंगे सर वो अभी मतलब काफी हंस पड़ेंगे। सर देयर वाज दिस चेस नंबर 11। सर वो हमारे रूम में सबसे विंडो की साइड पे बैठा था। तो हमारे रूम में कछुआ छाप पड़ी थी, तो उसे चलानी आती थी नहीं, तो वो कछुआ छाप को अपनी जेब में डाल के गार्ड रूम तक ले गया। गार्ड रूम में जाके जो उधर सर थे, मतलब गार्ड भैया जो बैठे थे, उनको बोलता सर आपके पास लाइटर है। वो सर बोलते क्यों सिगरेट पीनी है तुम्हें? फिर वो कहता कि नहीं सर मॉर्टिन। वो कहता तुम्हें मॉर्टिन पीना है? फिर वो कहते कि सर नहीं कछुआ छाप जलानी है। वो कहते कि ये कैसे नशे कर रहे हो यार तुम लोग। और सर यही चीज यही चीज उससे इंटरव्यूइंग में प्रेसिडेंट ने पूछा, तुम मॉर्टिन पीते हो? सर मैं तो मानता हूँ कि सर उससे जब ये पूछा होगा सर उसकी तो हालत टाइट हो गई होगी।
Yes. What was his final fate?
सर
How
ही
many
गॉट
out of this group, your squad?
सर इन माय 9th स्क्वाड आई गॉट 3 recommended from my 9th squad.
Okay, in total 8.
Yes sir.
Okay. Any other share experience you would like to share, which you might have forgotten initially and now you've recollected?
सर लास्ट डे पे सर इट वाज अ टोटल chaos. सब अपने रूम से बाहर निकल के गाने गा रहे थे, नाच रहे थे। सर मतलब बहुत ही अच्छा माहौल था पूरे उसमें। एसएसबी के दौरान हमें काफी अच्छा माहौल मिला। सर वो होता है ना कि सर लाइक माइंडेड लोग अगर एक साथ आ जाएं तो काफी अच्छा माहौल रहता है।
Yes.
सर 5 days बिना फोन के एक कैरम बोर्ड और चेस के साथ हमने पूरा एसएसबी निकाल दिया।
Anything interviewing officer ask you to organize, like about your game or your hobby, anything he asked?
सर मेरे से नहीं पूछा उन्होंने ये एसआरटीज वगैरह, बट सर बाकी बच्चों से पूछा था। एक बच्चे से पूछा था कि तुम्हें कोविड हॉस्पिटल खड़ा करना है, कैसे करोगे? सर ऐसे ऐसे क्वेश्चंस पुट करे उन्होंने।
Yeah, this is basically to see your organizing techniques,
यस सर।
capabilities.
सर मेरे से तो सर ये सब क्वेश्चन ही नहीं पूछे उन्होंने। मेरे से तो वही सब करंट अफेयर्स वगैरह
करंट
पीआईक्यू
अफेयर्स
पे।
में क्या पूछा आपसे?
सर पहले तो उन्होंने बोला कि 5 days पुरानी कोई न्यूज बताओ। मैंने कहा सर 5 दिन से तो न्यूज़पेपर मैंने पढ़ा ही नहीं, एसएसबी की तैयारी कर रहा हूँ मैं। तो हुआ क्या कि मैंने बोल दिया कि असम मिजोरम पुलिस क्लैश। उन्होंने कहा कि नहीं बहुत पुरानी हो गई। फिर मैंने कहा कि सर इसराइल पैलेस्टाइन भी पुराना हो गया। वो कहते हाँ वो भी पुराना हो गया। मैं सोची जा रहा, मैंने बोला आरबीआई की मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी आई है रिसेंटली। वो इंटरव्यूइंग ऑफिसर पूछता तुम्हें उसके बारे में कुछ पता है? मैंने सर नीचे करके बोला कि सर ज्यादा नहीं पता उसके बारे में। वो कहते मैं नहीं एक्सेप्ट करूंगा, कुछ और बताओ। फिर मैंने फाइनली बोल दिया कि सर ओलंपिक्स। और फिर उन्होंने ओलंपिक्स के बारे में पूछना शुरू कर दिया।
क्या पूछा ओलंपिक्स के बारे में?
सर किसने मेडल जीते, कौन कौन मेडल्स मतलब लेके आया है, 7 लोग कौन मेडल्स लेके आए हैं, बेस्ट परफॉर्मेंस कौन सी रही है। मैंने कहा सर नीरज चोपड़ा अपना गोल्ड लेके आया जेवलिन में। तो कहते हैं कि इसमें खास क्या है। मैंने कहा सर ही इज द सेकेंड इंडिविजुअल जो अपने इंडिविजुअल स्पोर्ट्स में ओलंपिक्स में गोल्ड मेडल लेके आया है। तो मेरे से पूछते कि फर्स्ट कौन था। मैंने कहा सर अभिनव बिंद्रा। कहते कहाँ से आया था। मैंने कहा कहाँ मिला उसको मेडल। मैंने कहा सर बीजिंग 2008। उतने में वो इम्प्रेस हो गया कि हाँ इसको ओलंपिक्स के बारे में
Do you
पता है कुछ।
remember? Do you remember we discussed this question also?
सर अभिनव बिंद्रा वन, यस सर।
Lot of, you see, this is the advantage of mock interviews and rehearsal which you carry out. I had asked you the meaning of Zubin, and the same thing came, and you are so prepared. Sometimes one gets stuck also.
यस सर।
Okay, nice. So you have shared wonderful experience. I
यस
am
सर।
very sure a lot of people will get benefit out of it, and I am very thankful for sparing time and remembering the entire thing which you have gone through. And now I know you are going for your PABT test. We wish you
यस
good
सर।
luck for that. And when you will come, we will share that experience with also the other aspirants.
यस सर।
I wish you good luck. God bless you. Be successful. Take care.
थैंक यू सर।
Okay, bye. Good night.
गुड नाइट सर।
If you feel this assessment was useful, then tell me in the comments below. Like this video so that more people can see it, and subscribe to my channel.